Welcome to yet another Sunday live show, Talking Trucking. Talking and Trucking. Hope everybody's doing really well and a great 4th of July. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Oh, look at that. With a little bit of a delay, YouTube is telling us that we are here. Today we have Alex here with us, and my camera is crooked as per usual. There we go. All right. So, guys, as you can see, we're going to be talking about a few different things. I'm your host, Vitaly. This is Alex in the bottom left sector. And I hope everybody's doing really well. Looks like Nathan Eberly, the first one. Hello, hey, hello. So it still shows me that we have no viewers. So we know that Nathan is definitely a viewer. Hey, how's it going, Nathan? How are you? Where are you? How are things going? How's it going, Alex? What's good?
Pretty good. You know, just let's call it a lazy Sunday.
Lazy Sunday, yeah, lazy Sunday it is. Yeah, I was definitely lazing around with some local philosophers at a coffee shop while I was putting some of these articles and items together. There's one in particular, and I hope to bring him onto the show, actually, talk to him again about it today. I just don't know how to line it up with trucking. He's a very interesting person.
Yeah, that's complicated.
So, well, maybe, you know, at a different time in the future, maybe I'll figure it out. But for now, I think we're okay.
Nice idea.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we got a few viewers popping in the show. I think we have a good one today. About 2 minutes into the show, just kind of waiting a little bit for folks to jump in. We are going to have several items to discuss. Let's do this. I'll pop this in here. So this is some of the things, and then one more item that we're going to be discussing. The trucking jobs market. Cargo theft that's been absolutely on a rise for some time, and especially now. Some of the infrastructure investments that are going into effect, where that money is going to go, how are things going to be moving forward, right, in our wonderful country, good old US of A. In any case, guys, AFT Dispatch, A2C Logistics, you can always reach us by calling or texting. There's our contact info, and you can also go to our website. A lot of information available there. We'll talk about this throughout the show, but today, just to get the show rolling, greetings from Modesto. Aaron Fisher stopping by. Hey, how you doing? Greetings from Salt Lake City. Thanks for stopping by. It's today the 7th, right? So I got the dates right. Awesome. Well, truck transportation jobs, guys. A mixed bag with a glimmer of hope. Look at that. I made custom AI images with all kinds of nice stuff, right? I kind of like that image. You know, I like how they depict semi-trucks. They put so many stupid little errors, and I'm like, I can't use this image. Truckers will know. I can't do that. Guys, today we're going to look at a few things. So to start off, we're going to look at the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What we're looking at specifically is that, and I've kind of highlighted some of these sections here, the seasonally adjusted truck transportation jobs in June last month dipped by a mere just 100 jobs. All right, overall, reaching 1,548,600 total jobs. This is the lowest level since October of 2017. However, the decline is smaller than previous months, potentially indicating a slowdown in the job losses. Now, the BLS revised job numbers for May and April downwards, highlighting a continuing trend of job losses in the industry. Now, also, I want to jump in and kind of tell you, you know, we hear this phrase quite often, seasonally adjusted. What it really means is seasonally adjusted, they take the raw data and basically they say what is typical for this time. If there's weather events, if there's going to be any sort of seasonal adjustment that they basically can do by taking out, narrowing down the numbers, and then doing that, you know, every month, and then they can compare that. You can also do the same thing without seasonal adjustments and then just compare apples to apples. So either way is good, but they do tell two different stories, because one can tell you that things are going well, another one can take the same data and actually tell you that things aren't as good. So that's what we got going on. Now, some possible reasons for this stability in June is David Spencer's talking. He's a market intelligence expert. We've seen his name throughout for many, many years. He's suggesting that despite stagnant growth and anticipated rise in spot rates during the summer peak season might have contributed to stable employment in June. There's some limited optimism for short term. We were talking about this in our weekly video last week on Friday, 5th of July. David Spencer, he believes that stability is the best case scenario for now. He predicts a full rate recovery might not happen until 2025 at the earliest. So kind of like I said, I'm looking at spring, 9 months away. All right, so that'd be 2025. And he's saying, look, that'd be like the first inklings of change. So, maybe not something that we wanted to hear, but also for a lot of people, they might have thought this would take a lot longer.
I mean, that kind of makes sense a little bit if you think about it, because usually in the winter, we know due to the weather, rates tend to go up. And like that, if they increase it during the spring, like the actual increase of the market will go during the spring, will actually be a swift increase instead of a radical increase that will drive everyone crazy. Because any increase or decrease that is radical can create chaos.
Absolutely, like what we saw.
So basically,
Previously.
they're a little bit taking advantage of the slight increase during the winter, and they're just gonna go up from there.
Well, the winter increase generally only runs if there are weather patterns. Like, so when we saw in December and January, that's what it is. But generally in a winter, rates decline. And so we generally see these numbers spike up, like in the LMI and things like that for the previous month. So like in January, we're looking at December. And so that's why it comes up. So you are right. That's the reason why I'm actually shooting for about 9 months at the earliest and possibly longer, because that would bring us to spring. Because in 6 months, we got winter. You know what I mean? So we're going to be just entering into spring at that point. So that's kind of what they're looking at the earliest, 2025 there. And it says, the glimmer of hope of non-seasonally adjusted data. And so this is kind of where we're going to jump in, because it says while economies prioritize seasonally adjusted figures, non-seasonally adjusted data might offer a different perspective. This data shows a significant increase in truck transportation jobs for 2 consecutive months, reaching 1,559,400 jobs in June. This is well above the February low of 1,527,000 and 300,000. So since Alex is yawning, I'm assuming the rest of you guys are also yawning. Guys, let's get those muscles moving, get those thumbs working. Will you please hit the thumb button for us? And let's wake up and get this show on the road. Really appreciate that, guys. So long distance truck driver jobs. There's going to be a cool few interesting ones here, guys. So this is a month behind. There, like I said, it is a laggard, so keep that in mind. But what they're saying is that they're continuing their downward trend, dropping to 539,000 jobs in May. And again, so that was June, going back to May. They're delaying. So now we're seeing that in July. So this is where the numbers are coming through. So the numbers are declining, but that decline has stopped, basically. Howdy from Texas. Looks like Brandon Schneider. Welcome, sir. Welcome. I don't remember seeing your name earlier, but definitely appreciate you stopping by. Howdy, howdy. I've only been to Texas to DFW area, and I will tell you this: from everything I've tried, that taste of that barbecue is still in my mouth, man. I one of these days I'll have to tell you guys a story of how I was in Fort Worth for some training for a job, and I was told there was a spot and it wasn't far away from the hotel I would be staying at, and I definitely couldn't miss it. It was the Hard 8, as it turned out. But those of you guys in DFW, in that area, you guys know where the Hard 8 is all about. And the thing is, that first night, a bunch of cars, including mine, got robbed. They got broken into, and all my stuff got stolen on the very first day. And this is before the day of GPS on cell phones. I had like a GPS unit put on a window, and of course that got stolen. I didn't know where to go, et cetera, et cetera. And hey, awesome. Thank you so much for watching the replays, and definitely welcome to the live show. Appreciate that. But what happened is all the stuff got stolen, just made for a really fun, interesting time. I was late for it to every meeting, et cetera, et cetera. And, oh, that's where you're at, DFW. Yeah, absolutely. And what was happening was, the car, they replaced it, this and that, and they gave me this really nice Cadillac, and I was driving around thinking cool in the middle of summer, and I put the windows down. I may have told the story, I think, in a previous life, but put the windows down, I get a whiff of this magical smell of wonderful Texas barbecue, and I literally started driving towards the smell. As the smell got stronger and stronger, eventually, not far away, I saw the restaurant, and I had barbecue for 2 days and then got on a plane and got the heck out of there. But yeah, driving in DFW in the middle of summer with your windows down is not a smart idea, especially when you have air conditioner that works. So anyway, that's because I was young and dumb and thought that.
I mean, they're
they
really
cool.
good at what they're doing. Like, I don't know if you remember, we had a customer out of there a good couple of years ago. I don't know if I could mention his name, but
Probably not. Good idea.
I actually got a brisket recipe from his wife. Even probably yesterday we did it.
Ah,
And
okay.
like they do something else, like their recipes and the way they do it.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah, there's
magical.
constant fighting between like multiple, like Kansas City and Texas and Louisville and a few different places. Yeah, because they have their own. Some guys are just straight dry rub, nothing else. Other guys will do like some more basting and maybe marinating and stuff like that. So there's a few differences, and they're constantly fighting and who's got the best barbecue. Well, right now, since I haven't tried so many of them, I can tell you that in Salt Lake and Utah, as a state, we don't have good barbecue. We just do not have it. It's all mediocre. And but
Agree.
DFW, best barbecue. But anyway, for the first time ever, the average hourly wage for production and non-supervisory truck transportation workers crossed $30 per hour. Woo! Wow.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
The truck transportation industry faces a challenging environment with ongoing job losses. However, the recent stability in June and potential rise in spot rates offer a cautious glimmer of hope. The non-seasonally adjusted data also suggests possible bottoming out of the job decline. It remains to be seen if this translates to a sustainable recovery in the coming months, right? So, guys, I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of people on the fence in terms of is there a driver shortage? There's a lot of people saying there isn't, a lot of people saying there is. Everyone's got their reasons. The people saying that if there ever was a driver shortage, it's caused because of how companies treat drivers, and if they treated them better, there would be more drivers coming in. On the other hand, if you ask the ATA, for example, who generally represents the larger carriers with like thousands of trucks or hundreds of trucks at the very minimum, as an average, their customer base, if you break it down, the majority or the average size is much larger than, like, for example, OIDA or IDA, which is more of the owner operator, couple of trucks, few trucks, that kind of thing, owner ops. And so they saying there's no such thing, and then the ATA guys are saying no, there is, and they've always been against each other. They're polar opposites. So it would be
I mean,
interesting
to
to
be
know what you guys
honest, I
think.
mean, this trucker shortage, I mean, this is my point of view.
Please.
Basically, I mean, that number can be very, very highly influenced by the very, very big company, like the giants of the industry. Because let's say out of 10 giants, right? Out of 10 very, very big companies, hundreds and hundreds of trucks or thousands, they treat their drivers poorly or they don't pay them well, nobody will go there. Maybe some even quit. If you look at it on a percentage of the total, of course they're gonna influence that number of trucker shortage or you know or surplus. So like on a total note, maybe it is a trucker shortage, but due to the fact that some big companies, I'm not gonna do names or anything, they don't treat the drivers that how they should.
Yeah, and that's something. And so hello to Clyde Acor, howdy from Idaho Falls. Hey, how you doing, neighbor?
Hey, Clyde.
We're right there. And Brandon brought up something that I think supports exactly what you were just saying. As you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt, but that's when the comment came in. He said the driver shortage is a misconception. They take the total number of terminations versus new hires, but they don't take into consideration that terminations include leaving one company for another. So it kind of reminds me of our unemployment figures. After X amount of time, they just think that you probably stopped looking for a job, so they just cut you out, and so that just naturally makes it look like our unemployment's improving. Or if people have two part-time jobs, it doesn't count. You know what I mean? So it's kind of and a lot of our folks now, like, they'll say more jobs than ever. They're actually working more than one job, and so that is not an indicator. Like, if people have to work two jobs to live a very modest lifestyle, that's not something to brag about. You know what I mean? But that's a little bit neither here
Nothing
nor
to
there.
cry about.
Yeah, and maybe that's why cargo theft is on the rise. Double brokering creates new risks, it says here. Now, we have to be careful about what double brokering actually means. A lot of people consider certain things double brokering that it is not. Night Ranger saying hot and humid from Dracula, Georgia. Well, it's probably thinking Dacula, but Dracula sounds a lot better. But yeah, making a drop at 3 in the
Actually
morning
misspelled
tomorrow.
that place a couple of times like that.
Oh yeah, well, it's easy to misspell that place. Yeah, where do you live? I live in Dracula, Georgia. Yeah, absolutely. Well, hot and humid in Georgia. No surprise there. Welcome, Night Ranger. Thank you for stopping by, sir, and good luck with this morning's delivery at 3 a.m. So you're delivering later, right? You're up
Ouch.
all day. Hopefully you get some sleep. Deliver, get some sleep, relax. I got Nathan Eberly. I've heard of driver shortages when I came into the industry 22 years ago. This is just wonderful. Yeah, some
This
of these
explains it
things,
all.
they just don't, these things don't go away. They just keep talking about the same things. They're like talking points. And so, it's kind of ridiculous. Cargo theft. Guys, cargo theft is a big deal. We've talked about this numerous times, and I think that it's really important for every one of us to be really mindful about some of these things and the processes that happen. Like over the past couple of years, we had an increase in all these scam calls and the way that some of our customers even got hurt. Now, most of the time we catch these things, but sometimes we've had issues. They do come up, and luckily it's very, very limited, but we, in the process of being able to learn some of the telltale signs of how these things happen. And so fool me once, shame on shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me. So we don't do that twice. And so our guys have been able to like pick up and be like, okay, there's a red flag, there's a red flag, there's a red flag. But my point is that this is coming up. As it says, cargo theft is skyrocketing. There's been a whopping 46% increase in incidents this year compared to last year. The value of stolen goods is also climbing, with an average shipment value of over $280,000 on average. How is that possible if we're only insured for up to $100,000 in cargo? How can you have an average that's over $280,000? That's my first red flag question for the people who put together these articles. Where'd they get the number? Did they mean 80,000? I don't know. Now, some states are getting hit harder than others. California, Illinois, and Texas have seen the biggest jumps in cargo theft. So again, California, Illinois, and Texas. Is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised? I guess a little bit with Texas, but I think bigger states will have bigger problems. But California and Illinois, yeah, they're definitely very, very populated and very large. At least California and Texas for sure. So definitely be very careful. That is a very large increase of 46%. Now, the double brokering aspect of this, they're calling it a new threat. Experts are pointing to a new trend. Criminals are using a tactic called double brokering to steal cargo. Guys, this is not anything new. They've done it, and hopefully the authors understood what double brokering was. And it says, here's the scam. Thieves pretend to be real carriers or brokers and trick shippers into getting them the goods. The scary part, double brokering allows thieves to operate from anywhere, targeting shipments all over the country. Traditional hotspots near ports aren't safe anymore. So that's not exactly what double brokering is. So, but they want to blame someone for this. They should blame themselves, the brokers, the shippers, the due diligence that isn't being done. There's a lot of stuff that can happen, and carriers also have something to carry on with that as well. You have to check these things. You have to be familiar with, like, if you get a Raycon that's just got like this heavy pixelation on the logo, they're getting better at these scams, but those are some of the common ones. You'll just see like heavy pixelation, or if the logo jumps at you, because the reason it's doing that is because probably the company changed their logo at some point. You've seen so many of these. Maybe that's more with dispatch, because they see so many Raycons. All of a sudden another Raycon comes in from a company we do a lot of business with, and something's not right about the logo. And that's actually, I say this only because we actually had that exact situation happen, and the guys caught it because they saw a heavily pixelated old version of a logo for a broker that we work with all the time. So, if you're not doing a lot of work with the same brokers, you might not notice. So you have to be really, really careful. Also be really careful.
There are other factors.
There are other
that
factors.
you can identify.
There are multiple.
You can identify by the way, even by the way, like, if you are gonna, most of the times the people that are double broker, I actually had contact with some of them that they were trying to scam me.
Uh-huh.
And you can notice it by a couple of factors. So first of all, if something feels fishy to you, try to ask them more information via email. The reason for it, even if they have a legit email, of course, would be a very, very big red flag if... hold on just 1 second. I can hear myself like triple, and I can barely talk.
It's really strange.
No, it's a thing on my side. All right, so as I was saying, like, yeah, if you see a domain that is not even from the same broker, of course, it's gonna be a red flag, a big red flag. But if that is correct, that doesn't mean it's still the legit broker. And if something feels fishy or you want to test it, sometimes you're gonna see it even without wanting to do that. If you ask him, hey, do you know if they received me 2 hours earlier, things like that, just ask them some information. the way they're gonna respond and their way of writing, because they're not professionals. They don't do this for a living. They do this now for a certain period of time to get money from you and run away.
Yeah.
Maybe they've done it in the past, but they are not doing to keep the client. They're doing to attract you. So they will insist. They'll tell you, yeah, you can pick up whenever you want, deliver whenever you want.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter. Everything is perfect. Everything is pink and shiny. But the way they'll write it, they'll use shortcuts. They'll use, for example, they'll use K instead of OK.
Hmm.
Most of the real brokers don't do that.
They just
It's
really
a thing that
mess
often
around
they
with
have.
you.
Alex,
Huh?
like, what the hell was that? Nothing. I'm just being silly. Yeah, they just mess around with you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They will have unprofessional, mode of communication, the way that they speak with you. We've seen that. We've seen those. That there's a lot of stuff where they try to pull money for what's the word? A lot of these guys will try to get some money early. They'll do advances up to like 40 or 50% at any cost because they want to get something. And if the delivery goes good and they don't get busted, they'll do the rest of it and they'll still get paid. And a lot of times, remember we had a customer not too long ago that had, well, sometime back, we had a customer who had an issue with the automated systems of Amazon and how they couldn't just get to anyone. And
Yeah.
we knew that the screw up was that if he delivered and he actually got the BOLs, which are digital, automatically submitted, those people would get paid right away, the scammers. Yet there was no one to talk to because there was only a person in guard check. And then, it wasn't able to get inside the building. So he was just stuck there. You either just sit there endlessly and basically, sabotage the entire situation and hijack the trailer, basically, ultimately, and say, until somebody comes out and does it. Maybe that's what he needed to do. And we did recommend that whatever you do not deliver the load. Let's try to figure this thing out. But he did deliver, and that's exactly what happened. The BOLs are digital. The money went to the scammers. And they, of course, also took the advances because they wanted the express
Also, that
codes.
gentleman that reached us like 2 months ago, month and a half ago, that wanted to tell his story. If you remember, that
No,
had the
tell
same problem
I,
with Amazon.
Oh, was it again Amazon? Okay.
Yeah, he was saying with Amazon that he booked that load, and but he managed to get inside the trailer and get the physical copies of the BOL.
Oh, okay. Good. That's important.
So he managed to fix it up.
Yeah. Well, moving on with this, so just definitely keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled, and if there's been some cases of where you caught a scammer, one of these like scamming entities, organizations, or whatever, people, let us know in a chat. Let us know in the comments if you're watching a replay. Would definitely, I think these are the kinds of things that will definitely help a ton. So there's that. Now, impact and risks.
One small tip.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you until we go forward. One small tip that you could do in case you really suspect the guy. Most of the brokers, not all, 95% of them do that because they're normally obligated.
Yeah.
If you tell to the broker that you can do a load legally with your hours of service, they will want to take you off it. If he says, okay, I'll take you off, that means he's a legit broker. Because a scammer would not want to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if he says that, says, sorry, I was just trying to see if you guys are double brokering because you can find you tell him, look, I was scared that you might be a double broker, and I know usually guys that do double brokering try to give you the load without any repercussions, and you can deal with it after that. But if it is indeed a scammer, that guy is gonna try to push you. Oh, you know how you can do this or that, or you can use They'll do the personal conveyance thing. They'll tell you to use personal conveyance. That's the first red flag.
Yeah.
A broker will never do that.
Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make this thing work. The chat broke, and we're not really getting any viewers. Hopefully, you guys have. There you go. It updated. Good afternoon, Adam Woods. Thanks for stopping by, sir. Appreciate you stopping by in the weeklies on Sundays here. So we're covering a few different things, topics today. Alex, you're absolutely right, man. That is correct. They just want to they don't care about the freight. Sometimes you have to be careful though, because sometimes what waits for you is right before you get close to the delivery site, they call you and suddenly say, you know what, there's been a change of plans. There's going to be a delivery. We're going to be doing a delivery elsewhere, and it's convenient for you because it's going to be on the way, and you're going to have less miles. I'll still pay you the same amount of money, but you just have to go to a different site. And then truckers are like, oh yeah, this is great, and then that's when they get robbed, basically.
I mean, on that side, even our guys and I was doing the same, and I suggest you guys to do also the same. Whenever that kind of thing happens, whenever, uh, even if everything looks legit and everything, if you get let's say they change your delivery appointment and give you a new raycon, or I mean delivery, but not the delivery appointment, delivery location. If it's the same city, call the main line of that broker and verify that everything is good with that raycon in between you and the company.
Yeah.
Because if you call the main line of that, like you literally Google the company, like I don't know, I'll give it as a call TQL main line. Reach carrier services, I think it's 56000, the extension. Just call them and say, look, I have this load. It seems a little bit fishy. I want to just double check with you guys to see if the broker, like the guy that booked it with me, is legit and everything is good and is booked on my company and everything.
Yeah.
Just to do a security check.
Yep.
He'll do it voluntarily. Just give him the load number, your MC, and he will check that everything load.
Yep.
And if it's not, he's going to tag it and everything. You don't have to do anything anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
And in case you are already loaded, he's going to guide you through all the steps. You might misjudge TQL for a lot of reasons, but I can tell you, I talked with their carrier services a lot, and they're actually very professional.
Oh yeah, of course. You don't become a huge company just being completely unprofessional. But we'll actually talk about some of the stuff here in a later segment of this video, looking at some of these big companies and what they've been actually doing out there. Let's kind of finish up this this section.
Brandon, you're totally right.
Yeah, right. It is the holiday weekend after all. Now it says, while stealing trailers is still happening, double brokering is a less risky option for criminals. International crime rings are using this method to target specific high-value cargo. Carriers and brokers need to be extra vigilant. Look out for red flags like inconsistencies in carrier's profile or unusual communication patterns, kind of like what Alex had talked about earlier. Now, keep in mind, this might be the explanation of why we have an average of $280,000, because they're actually targeting specific high-value cargo. So that could be the case. So it says how to fight back. Experts recommend stricter vetting procedures for carriers and brokers. Think double checking IDs, qualifications, and equipment. Everyone in the supply chain needs to be aware of double brokering. Cargo owners, be meticulous about tracking your goods and use reputable carriers. There's definitely a lot goes to say about using reputable carriers. It's worth it for brokers, for shippers, for whoever to pay the extra necessary to make sure that their expensive cargo gets to where it needs to go. So, but a lot of brokers, they don't care. They just want it for the cheapest dollar amount possible. Next thing we're going to cover is transportation stalling in June, but hope for recovery on the horizon. Now, this is not about the jobs. Last week's video was about June's Logistics Manager Index, and this is going to be kind of a continuation about the video about what we talked about. I want to cover that. Video got a lot of views, and thank you for that, guys. A little bit more views, a few more viewers have been added. If you get a chance for that, you guys please have to hit the like button, because as soon as you guys do that, very shortly after, it's like people get notifications. We come up a little bit higher, and we get the views and the concurrent viewership up. So that really helps. Not a lot to ask for, and definitely helps a ton. So appreciate that.
And if you haven't subscribed, you have the button down there so you can catch us every single weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hit the subscription box. We should have a little thing pop up here on screen with a little truck noise, things like that. So it should be pretty cool. So definitely let's look at the LMI. So transportation capacity stalls. So for the first time in over 2 years, now we talked about it literally this in the last video, and I had some really interesting comments saying that like you're just flapping your gums and nothing's coming out, and it's like, okay, let me clear something up. The data came out on July 2nd for June. It always 1 month back. On July 3rd, I analyzed the data. On July 4th, I made the video and it went for editing. And on July 5th, we literally, so where is it old data? It's literally a day behind. Like, are you serious? So there's that for you. Now, transportation capacity stalls. For the first time in over 2 years, the LMI reading, Logistics Managers Index, reading for transportation capacity remained flat at 50. Indicating no growth. This follows a decline from May's reading. So this is good news, very good news. In fact, the decline, the number was by 7.3, I think was the reading, which is a huge change, very large change. This potentially signals the end of a freight recession that began in spring of 2022, but the report cautions it's too early to say definitively. Now, transportation pricing is on the rise. Despite the capacity stall, transportation pricing continues to rise for a second consecutive month, reaching its highest level since June 2022, LMI reading of 61, which is fantastic. That's why we covered that part in last week's video, talking about how transportation pricing had increased. This suggests a potential market shift towards growth, especially if the trend continues through the peak season, which is currently. Now, experts are cautiously optimistic, saying that the report acknowledges the ongoing recession, but believes the current trends could mark the beginning of a recovery. Factors like rising prices and expectations of a strong peak season contribute to this cautious optimism. So there's definitely that. And we have seen these things improve. We have seen freight pricing improve. We have seen a lot of that actually going on. Let's see. I'm getting blown up with messages, but I can't, maybe another day. Another time. Not right now. I thought it was maybe you were writing me or something.
No.
So there is that. Now, one of the aspects of the LMI is they heavily look at inventory and warehousing. Now, usually I skip that, but since we did cover it in last week's video because it was related to trucking, I wanted to show you guys kind of the continuation is here as well. So inventory levels remain low, 47.4. We did talk about destocking. We did talk about, again, replenishing stocks later, which will probably be right about now in July and into August, finishing up with the peak season. Now, inventory levels at 47.4 show slight signs of increasing. This might indicate retailers keeping costs down while manufacturers prepare for peak season. Exactly what we talked about last week. Now, warehouse capacity also declined slightly in June. The score was 52.6, potentially due to increased inventory storage activity. Warehouse utilization rates are near all-time lows, with downstream companies, retailers, utilizing less space compared to upstream firms, which is the manufacturers, which makes sense. Like we were talking about, the manufacturers, the suppliers, they're getting ready. The retailers, they're actually cutting. And then businesses, they're actually concerned about supply chain, restrictions, problems, war and all this other stuff, hurricanes. So they're actually buying more stuff. This is a very good thing. This is what's going to actually create kind of like a shortage situation. And it's going to actually create a situation of replenishing when people go in to buy stuff and it's not available. It's going to actually create and that's why the manufacturers and the suppliers, they know that this is actually happening, and so they're preparing because they know that the retailers will need all the stuff. Once the holidays start coming in, there's going to be a lot of shipping. So what do we say here? What do we have here? The transportation industry seems to be in a holding pattern. Capacity stalling, but pricing suggesting potential growth. While the recession isn't officially over, experts see signs of a turnaround, especially if peak season brings increased demand. So there you have it. What do you think, Alex? Or anybody in the chat? What do you think, Alex?
I mean, in terms of this, like, it actually reminds me of a comparison that a good friend of mine was doing. That because a lot of people don't understand it. Usually, manufacturers actually when when the stores are not selling so much product, right? Like the retailers don't sell so much product. The production line itself works even harder to stock up and pile up. And why is that? My good friend had a very, very good saying about this. Is usually the factory that makes the sunscreen works triple the amount of time during the winter so they can prepare it for the summer.
That's hilarious.
Because in the summer they're gonna have to sell so much, they're not gonna be able to produce
to
that
do
much.
it, yeah, that makes and maybe that's exactly what it is, and I think that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, right now, like the whole situation of the U.S. in general is in a confusion state. Nobody knows where it's gonna head. It's been pretty bad for the past 2 years, a little bit over 2 years. So it's a state of confusion. People can't really jump too far ahead because it can cause problems in case things go sideways.
Exactly.
And it's a smart thing to do to not jump too much in ahead.
Yeah.
Very smart, unless you really afford it.
Well, we're used to the
But
just-in-time system, right? So like Walmart's and Targets and all the biggest stores, they use the JIT system, just in time. So they only order as much as necessary. You take a box of chocolates, they order one more box of chocolates, or they order like a case a caseload of it or something like that, you know. But they keep very, you know, they only have on in stock as much as they generally their analytics will tell them normally sells, right? And maybe a little bit more, but not like triple the amount or something like that. So, and that actually
Correct.
got us in trouble. That's what got us actually in trouble during COVID, because we only had so much, you know. The just-in-time system just didn't work. So, yeah, you know.
I mean, yeah, the just-in-time system didn't work, so they tried to overload the store, and that's why even this increase, even in freight in market, like in the trucking market, was this big increase because due to the panic, people started to buy a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. I mean, we've seen it all over the news. People got buying toilet paper for
Hey
10
man,
million decades ahead.
they wanted to feel comfortable and don't judge me.
I mean, I get it, comfortable, but they could like literally do like it was actually a sort of a funny report
Hmm.
that on an average during COVID, people bought enough toilet paper
Hmm.
per person to surround the Earth twice.
Oh wow, that's just fantastic, man. Yeah, how many trees had to? Wow. I think
Yeah,
Brandon is saying a lot of things. It says USD, well, he talked about the USDOT, the $1.8 billion infrastructure. So he says, so a 5-spot rest area with parking only allowed from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know, that's how government works. You know, in a previous video, it's been a few months, I think, we actually talked about some of these grant systems, programs, and like Biden's 16-year plan. And then we looked at where they were going to build more parking, renovate, more facilities, more truck stops, stuff like that. And it was really interesting. We started breaking down some of the numbers, and I was like, wow, you know, like they're only doing so few spots and a few small investments, but it's costing a huge amount of money. And I was like, wow, you know, like this could probably be done for 5 times cheaper. And a lot of people agreed, to be honest with you. But you know, government does it slow and expensive, so that's what it looks like. You might be on the money there. And I'm sure that he's
yeah,
referring to the JIT system. He says it only works when everything else is working correctly. That's exactly it. If everything else is running
yeah.
perfectly, just-in-time delivery systems are wonderful. Also, a hello to a familiar face, D64 Falcon. D64 Falcon. Hello, hello, sir. I'm always thinking I'm adding a number there because I don't see too good. D64. So, guys, moving on.
Yeah.
USDOT is investing that 1.8 billion that Brandon just mentioned here. Infrastructure upgrades are coming, and here's that.
Yeah, to put a note on what Brandon was saying, the thing is, because I know a lot of truckers are actually mad about this thing of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Uh huh.
Parking schedule. Like, I understand it's frustrating, especially since trucking doesn't really work 7 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trucking is
It
trucking.
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
But yeah, but in popular truck stops, where because usually in popular truck stops that are very well frequented, they have this kind of thing. I kind of understand it because I've seen a lot of it, even myself, and I've heard even from other truckers that were working with me,
Mother truckers.
like the yeah,
I'm
the
kidding.
mess that the people leave, like those who like stay there overnight,
Mm-hmm.
the the mess that they leave on that parking spot, and they leave very early so they don't get caught. Like it's miserable. We're talking about even like the worst thing you can think of, like properly doing their own needs there and stuff like that. And they have a bathroom couple of feet away.
There's no doubt
So
about that.
it's
That's why there's that wonderful, interesting smell that is, you know, in a summer truck stop parking lot, and it's definitely
that's the
truckers
thing.
know.
So that's what they do is 7 to 5 because 7 to 5 they have a person there and they can actually like oversee it. And in case somebody does
Yeah.
something bad and they damage it, they put them to clean. If they don't want, they call the cops and so on. I mean, we know how it goes. We've seen it all at least once. So, I mean, I get it. It's frustrating. Most of you are well-educated people that don't do that, but because of some black sheeps, everybody gets this treatment, and it's bad. It's wrong, but it is what it is, and you can't change nothing about it. Because if they're gonna change back to the old rules, those guys that were doing a lot of mass in the parking spots will do it again.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, a pig is a pig is a pig. You know, that'll happen. You
Yeah,
know, and Brenton's kind of saying that. He just said he's been doing local for the last 3 years, but his friend started her career, and she's seeing truck stops getting full around 3 p.m. on the East Coast. He says, though you guys have given me the itch to get back into long haul, just need to save up more money for my own truck. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, but honestly, like if you got some good money coming in, sounds like you're a company driver at the moment, driving someone else's equipment, doing some local runs. That might be the best place to stick it out right now, especially if it pays well, if it's consistent, if you like the people you work with. That might be, just set aside your funds. There will be a time to buy another truck. Prices are still declining. Trailers are still declining in price. So, you're not in a bad spot from what you're sharing here. So hopefully it pays well. Now, again, coming back, the U.S. DOT is investing $1.8 billion in infrastructure upgrades. The Department of Transportation, DOT, just announced a major investment. 1.8, about 45K right now. Yeah, man, keep on grinding. You're going to need a lot of money. You got to buy the truck. You got to get the trailer. You want to have set aside money for repairs, preventative maintenance, and all sorts of other stuff. You want to make sure to get an idea of what you're going to be doing with your business, So, your annual income. Okay, gotcha. I mean, that it just depends how hard you work for it, et cetera, and how much of that you can set aside. If the goal and the dream is to get your own equipment, you're going to be able to do that. Just be aware that you're going to need to keep in mind expensive financing. Keep in mind there will be repairs on used equipment. Keep in mind there's going to be a whole bunch. Yeah, no worries, man. I just want to make sure, since we're on that subject, that I want to make sure you're covered. Set aside money. Do you want to wait net 30 for your invoices, or are you going to use a factoring company? Do you want to cut the factor out? Do you have credit line set up? So this is a time to kind of put that business plan in place, work backwards towards your goals, and try to figure out something, and figure out the business, how you're going to move forward with it. So that no need to make drastic changes. So they're going to be spending.
And another thing is to set up a good mindset for it, and to calculate your expectations, because your first couple of years you're basically going to recover the thing that you invested in it.
Yeah.
And a good amount of time you might make less than you were doing as a company driver.
Yeah.
It's totally normal.
Yeah.
Because nobody can start from being a CEO. You got to start from down here, and slowly you're going to get up.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand it. I think that, I got myself a truck and a trailer, open my MC, and I'm going to make more money than I was doing when I was a company driver. No.
Yeah.
In the first year, you're going to make less. In the second year, maybe you recover what you lost in your first year.
Uh-huh.
And in the third year, you're going to see some profits.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you got into the industry with a used truck at the right time and everything got taken care of, and then COVID hit and you made your money then you probably made your money back in the first 90 days. So, and there are some guys that did that. One of our drivers, one of our carrier customers we've had for a long, long time. He hard worker, blah, blah, blah. All the things were in place. He was working real hard, good dispatch. He continues to, you guys see his name pop up on the weekly videos. Pretty much every single week he's in one of the top earners. And what's interesting is that, he had a catastrophic failure with the equipment during the peak of the market when trucks were still expensive. He still jumped in, bought that truck, overpaid for it. And guess what? It was still the right decision because for that time, because he still had plenty of time left moving forward. To basically make his money back and get the equipment. I mean, it was so interesting because the dealer called him back 2 months later asking to overpay if he would just sell the truck back to him. That's how ridiculous it was. So, but anyway.
Even our ex-lady partner that I worked with for a pretty long time, she did pretty much the same. Yeah,
exactly. Well, she actually bought one of our trucks.
Yeah, she bought one of your trucks. She bought it actually pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Took advantage of the full size of the very strong market and got out there right after.
Yep, that's what she did. Well, she was always a smart girl. So to improve our nation's infrastructure, the government's going to be dumping a ton of money into it with a significant chunk aimed at boosting the freight industry. Now, Brandon, you want to stick around for this one because unknowingly, in your earlier comment, you actually hit the nail on the head, my friend. So this is great news for several reasons. Modernizing our infrastructure. The funding will go towards projects that address aging roads, bridges, and ports, making the entire transportation system smoother and more efficient. Boosting the trucking industry, what we're all interested in. Out of the $1.8 billion, over $163 million is specifically dedicated to freight projects across the country. This includes improvements to ports, harbors, rail connections, and even funding for electric vehicle integration. Also strengthening the supply chain. By investing in infrastructure, the DOT aims to improve the flow of goods throughout the country, potentially leading to lower costs and shorter delivery times. So kind of interesting. Out of 1.8 billion, we got 163 million,
That's
and
skeptical, but okay.
yeah, I mean, and some of it's going to go to harbors and rail connections and electric infrastructure charge. Yeah, we're going to get like $4, guys. So some specific examples of how the funds will be used. And here's the, I swear I had a little drum roll here I can do. Hold on. Let's see. I swear we had a drum roll. You know what? How's this? That's the closest I can get. So, guys, it says some specific examples. Wrangell Harbor Basin in Alaska will receive $25 million for improvements that enhance freight movement. Arkansas I-49 will get $25 million in extension to increase freight capacity. The Port of Bellingham in Washington is getting $17.9 million for a new shipping terminal rail connection, reducing reliance on trucks. Well, that ain't good. Several other grants are aimed at improving port facilities, developing regional supply chain networks, and even exploring alternative freight solutions like cargo bikes in New York City. None of that sounds like it's helping truckers. None of it.
Actually, the third point could actually help, because if they connect it to a rail, basically they'll increase. I mean, yeah, it's gonna affect negatively the reefer, the basic reefer guy or the driving guys. One intermodal is gonna go up because it's not just gonna go up; it's gonna disperse much widely.
Yeah. I mean, a
Because
whole
all the
new
freight is going to
terminal.
go into the port of Washington, is going to get distributed. Basically, the local guys are going to have more work.
Yeah, Seattle, Tacoma. Maybe that's the case. I mean, there's a lot of freight that goes through there in the first place, but it does say reducing reliance on trucks, which is definitely, something to consider. A couple of comments that I had missed out on here. He's saying, he said 30-second precognition for the win. Oh, yeah, that's it right there. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened there. Yeah, man. I appreciate you the comments and stopping by today. You definitely made it very interesting. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys in the viewers, just the handful of the viewers that we got here. A few handfuls. Definitely appreciate you guys. And see, all I had to do was say that, and then the viewers increased when it refreshed. So thank you so much for those of you guys hitting the like button. If the button on your screen is not blue, would you please make it blue? I'd really, really appreciate that. So overall, this is a significant investment that will benefit the trucking industry, strengthening the supply chain and improve our nation's infrastructure for years to come. Again, I don't really see in this synopsis of how this is going to do for the trucking industry. But, it is what it is. I guess we'll have to see where the money goes. And finally, let me see if I can.
We're talking about 18 bill, or if I'm not
1.8
am
bill.
I wrong?
1.8 billion.
Still 1.8 bill. Like,
yeah.
Where's
the rest
of it?
Yeah, exactly. Where did that go?
We're talking about a couple of millions there, like how was it, 50 mil, maybe 60 mil total?
Like 100 mil or something. Yeah, no, it's 1.8 billion.
Let's say 100 mil. Let's exaggerate. Let's say 100 mil is not our money, so we can even say it. Where's the 1.7 bill?
Exactly. Where's the rest of it? Well, they're still trying to figure it out probably, and that's something they've been working on, and there's been other programs that will actually take a little bit longer to become real. So, like we talked about a few months ago, Biden's 16-year plan. So there's that. Aaron Fisher says 1.8 billion really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. No, I get that, but the problem is that out of 1.8 billion, only 163 million is going to trucking. Like if it would have been like 180 million dollars, that would have been like 10%. So that's less than 10% is going to trucking. If I got the math right? So less than 10% is going towards trucking, and that's why I wonder. So that sounds like, well, we're going to do this for ports, we're going to do this for like intermodal, we're going to do this for rail and all this. We're just going to do all this stuff, and we're going to reduce reliance on trucks. And then at the end, they're like, and here's some money for you guys, and and kind of like good luck. But hey, we're rooting for you.
We're doing it for you.
Yeah, so I kind of find that a little bit strange. And then one other thing I wanted to cover with you guys is right off of Freight Waves, C.H. Robinson slashes over 50% of their U.S. sales team, sources say. Now, this is interesting because there's a couple of sources that asked to remain anonymous. And I've highlighted some of these sections in this article. So the brokerage disputes the number of workers recently laid off. Now here's the interesting thing. C.H. Robinson Worldwide laid off around 80 members of its remaining 150 sales representatives in the U.S. Okay, this was last Thursday. So a few days. Actually, no, this was on the 1st, I believe. Yeah, so July 1st was Thursday.
It's actually worldwide, not in the US.
Worldwide, sorry? Well,
Yeah.
right. No, the organization C.H. Robinson Worldwide, that's the organization. But their U.S. offices, they went from 150 down to 80. And they had a much bigger office back in the day. So they slashed U.S. sales jobs by around 89% over the past 6 years as it turned its focus from its people to embracing technology, which I feel is a kind of a oddball. You know, it's the people that make you who you are. And now you're cutting those people out to replace them with technology that promises to be able to do the job.
To give them some credit, their platform is actually the best I've seen from all the brokers.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah, the cost, everything.
Yeah,
systems.
in terms of negotiation, looking through everything, it's actually like the most like user friendly and very, very easy to read and actually fast.
Yeah, no, they have a really good system, and we'll talk about their system as well. And here they actually do cover it. So they actually said this is a quote from a C.H. Robinson. One of their guys here said, "We once had about 650 sales reps in the U.S. divisions, but that number dropped as C.H. Robinson's focus switched from training and retaining talented people to its focus on technology." The source, who has to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation, told FreightWaves. So they were at 650, went down to 150, and now they're dropped to about 80 people in total for the U.S. side. Now, it's still a huge, ginormous organization, and and we'll cover that as well. For some reason, my mouse is not listening. Okay. So he estimates the current number of C.H. Robinson sales reps whose jobs are solely to sell its freight services to motor carriers are as around 70 nationwide after Thursday's job cuts. Is that what they're saying? He clarified that some legacy brokerages count business development account manager positions that may overlap with the sales division as part of their total sales headcount. Now, in a statement, a spokesman for Eden, Minnesota-based C.H. Robinson disputed the number of sales representatives affected by the recent cuts, but declined to provide a breakdown of the number of sales positions. So again, they're really hiding that. We are getting fit, fast, and focused as part of our enterprise strategy and new operating model geared at delivering exceptional and high-value service to customers and carriers, the company said. Despite rumors that major changes were coming to the largest non-asset-based freight brokerage, the source said few expected that more than half of the U.S. sales group that worked to broker freight to asset-based carriers would be gutted. And then the quote says, "You can't cut your sales team, which is the heart of your organization, and think that's going to get you better results in the long run," the source told FreightWaves. He continued, I think if the leadership knew what these salespeople brought to the table and how hard it is to train a salesperson, I think they would regret what they did on Thursday, because it's going to take C.H. Robinson a decade to recover from this decision." So, I'm on that side. It really takes a lot to train salespeople. You often make mistakes. Sometimes you waste a lot of time, resources on the wrong person. And if they already had, decades worth of business development that has led to them becoming a market leader, getting rid of the very people that got you there seems a little backwards to me. But I don't have all the details.
They laid off like the experienced people and the good employees. Probably they laid off either people that were slacking because they're always there.
Well, I mean, could it be that 89% of their workforce was slacking? I mean, that tells me that you have
most of the time it is like that.
89%.
When you have a large number, a lot of them will just hide in the shadow of the good one.
1 out of 10 people working. The rest are just having coffee breaks. I couldn't do it. Well,
That's what it was at my other jobs.
Were you part of the 9 or that person?
Yeah, I was part of the 9.
Yeah.
Nobody was checking.
No one was checking, so we were just hanging out. Well, another source.
Salary was coming, no one was checking. So. And a lot of people do that. Like it sounds weird and bad, and it is bad, but
yeah,
that's how it is.
Yeah, people, if you don't crack the whip, I suppose a lot of people won't do an honest day's work. Well, he said that another source said that most of the sales reps who were let go work with the brokerage smaller accounts, but that management told them they weren't being terminated for performance issues, as most were meeting or exceeding their sales goals. So that kind of gets rid of that concept. I think what was happening is, okay, what is going on? Why is, can you see how? Oh, you guys can't see it, but my mouse is on two different screens at the same time, and it's losing its mind on one side, and it's not even on the live. What is happening? Okay, technical difficulties. I've never seen that in the years of using computers. Okay, so that kind of cuts it out. That basically tells us that these people did really well. They weren't they weren't had any issues, performance issues. They were most were meeting or exceeding sales goals, and they still let him go. What's interesting is that they went back and started to hire. So I think what they did is they just fired a bunch of people, cut employee costs, and then decided they're going to get new talent in there at a lower wage because that'll save money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they did. Now, there's a quote saying, "It's just sad that C.H. Robinson prioritizing technology over people," the source told FreightWaves. As far as tech, C.H. Robinson, I want to say ACH, this is from the way it looks, but C.H. Robinson employee said the brokerage used to value and invest in its people over technology until Bob Biesterfield, the former president, he disappeared. Former president and CEO of the freight brokerage announced the company was investing $1 billion in technology in 2019 in an effort to protect its market share. Furthermore, since 2022, the company has slashed more than 2,400 employees across all its divisions worldwide, according to C.H. Robinson's quarterly earnings report. As of March 31st, the company had nearly 15,000 employees, down from nearly 17,400 employees it had 2 years earlier. So there you go. I didn't go through the rest. I mean, I read the rest of it, but the gist of it is right there. And I think this right here is what really tells us. So I'll read that again. It says, since 2022, the company has slashed more than 2,400 employees. Oh, what is that? Why? Oh, never mind. 2,400 employees across all its divisions worldwide, according to C.H. Robinson's quarterly earnings report. And then as of March 31st, the company had nearly 15,000 employees, down from nearly 17,400 employees it had 2 years earlier. So what this is telling us that is the majority of the employees in production are probably overseas somewhere working for a C.H. Robinson because they cut down everyone. And now they're basically saying that, they're down to about 70 people maybe for their U.S.-based locations, which I think is definitely an interesting thing. If you consider, there's a few people here. If you consider the sheer size of C.H. Robinson and just the sheer size of C.H. Robinson and the fact that they have that many companies, that they have that many employees, that many people that they're working with, and basically to cut, 150 people or something like that, it's like less than 1%. But when they're cutting 89% of a division in the U.S. as an American company, and then in total they have 15,000 employees, that tells me that 1% of your organization is running 99% of the business that is actually being brought from overseas agents. Definitely an interesting model. And I don't have proof of that, but the numbers don't lie. 15,000 employees, you got about 70 people. That's about 0.5%, if I understand correct, if my math is right. That's about half of 1% that's in the U.S. So where's the rest of the 14,930 people? Like, where's the rest of them? But as a little commercial break, since I haven't done that when we're almost at the 1 hour mark, I'm going to say this, guys. We dispatch trucks for carriers. We also lease on owner-operators. The last video did its trick. We got a ton of folks that came in to the website and filled out these forms. You go to aftdispatch.com. You click any of the Learn More buttons. For carriers, first name, MC number, email, and phone. And of course, owner-operators have it easy with just the first name, email, and their phone number. Get in touch with us, and we will cover all the information, get you everything that you need to know. And we also provide our weekly videos where there's hundreds of them at this point. Let's take a look. If you go to our YouTube channel, sorry about that, guys. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can even go to the playlists, and we have our playlist right here, top paying loads and trucking. Hopefully all the videos throughout the years I did mark them. So right now it's showing 198 videos. and it just goes back and back. And what these videos have in common is that every single one of these went in and showed you the real, actual loads that we had booked for our customers at that time. So, a lot of these
Yeah, to
videos didn't
make
get
it
a lot of
clear for
views.
some people, because a lot of people thought I actually had that multiple times when I talked with people. Those loads are usually for that specific week. They're not older loads. They're not repeated loads or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, these are all brand new every week. You're absolutely right. So that's exactly it. And how interesting how our first video, at least in this folder, was, it says 3 years ago, but we've actually been doing it for 4. So I'll have to see how far back these go. But it was a COVID testing at truck stops video. So a lot of time and energy has been put into this. A lot of research has been put into this, and in the process, we learn a lot. And we can pass that on to you guys. I'm constantly reading information, pulling information from different sources, and try to just kind of share it with you guys. So be aware, we are here. We're always available. If you ever want to get in touch with us about our truck dispatch services, just call or text us at the number on your screen. You can also visit us on our website and get more information there. So enough of that. Alex, what you got going on today?
I mean, not really much specific. I wanted to talk a little bit about, because we had a lot of questions on our previous video, so I wanted to going a little bit into that, because there were a lot of good questions. Some of them just adding things to it, but there were some good questions there. Some people had misconceptions of the things that we said, so I wanted to, maybe clear it out for other people that maybe thought about the same thing and didn't commented, or maybe those people are even watching. No, it's good to clear out a little bit things and give them a little bit of insight about it.
Okay. Think you could lift up your mic a little bit? I think that'll probably clean up the audio
Yeah.
a little bit.
Is it better?
Oh, much better. Yeah, I think so. And then
Yep.
Brandon's
So
saying the EV stuff is just fancy. It's just a fancy way to take taxpayer money and put it in the pockets of special interest, interest groups, and yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people feel that way as well. Electric vehicles, all the infrastructure improvements, and all the regulations and all the construction that they're going to do with huge amounts of money. Yeah, you never know how that's actually going to get spent and who gets the contract.
correct. Yep. So I was going through the comments, and if you can you open them on your side?
Yeah, of course. Let's see, what would be a better one? Maybe this is better. I think that's the biggest one. Okay. Yeah, we could do it like this.
And guys, you can always interrupt us, ask us questions. We're always open to answer them if we can. If it's something a little bit more in depth, you can always visit our website, davethedispatch.com. Leave your information there, and either me or Kevin, depends on the topic, we will reach back and answer all your questions and eventually find solutions for your needs.
This
All
would.
right. That's perfect.
Oh,
So
sorry.
we
It's
have there.
let me try to pause this. The advertising starts itself.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
Here, let me just play through it. It's 1 second. Skip.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh, here are the.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's.
So there were some
that
good,
are-
very good comments, and I wanted to answer some of them. So there is one that says 649. The first should have paid him at least $3,000. There was a load out of South Carolina, to Texas. But I agree that load should pay as much as possible to make the trucker happy. However, the market doesn't work like that. If a thing should be like that, it's not necessarily always like that. Actually, that line usually that's the normal pay of it. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, depends on the capacity that is out of South Carolina. Recently, we've seen and actually talked this with one of my colleagues, Joe, who's one of the dispatchers. Saw something very, very weird. If you can explain it to me, I'm more than because we've never seen something like that ever. That's why I wanted to talk about this. Basically, and tell me if you ever seen this.
Uh-huh.
Out of South Carolina on a Thursday afternoon at around 3 to 4 p.m., there were 3,000 lows on the board and nobody was negotiating.
Oh, wow.
And all of them were low rates.
Were they all by the same
Low
brokers
or
or?
average at best.
Huh.
And 3,000 lows, like not 150 or 250, 500.
Mm-hmm.
Out of Charleston, South Carolina, he had a truck. He was trying to find something a little bit over $2 a mile. 220, maybe 230,
Hmm.
and he couldn't because nobody was negotiating even 50 bucks. In that day, in the next day, he found something much better, and they were not was only 500 or 600 loans. So it's definitely something weird, especially with the Carolinas
I'm
recently
wondering
there
maybe the
in the market.
yeah, maybe somewhere.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking like the only thing that comes to mind is that maybe a broker had screwed up on his like Excel sheet when he uploaded to like DAT or Truck Stop to upload the loads because they don't if they have a lot of loads they don't do it by hand manually, they just fill out like a template and then they upload that and then the system accepts it and just kind of reconfigures it in the database. And sometimes what happens is they might have screwed up on that and all those loads got loaded and it just showed like there was 3,000 loads and then they had to like manually go and close those, which would take forever basically. And so maybe that was the case.
No, the thing is, Joe called on a lot of them. Like he called for like 4 hours in continuous, and nobody was negotiating on, and they were all real loads.
MS is
That
saying,
was
what
the weird thing.
supplies the power for EV powering station? Let me tell you, MS, it's called diesel. Diesel generators are filling up our batteries, because I know you, and I know you
In the
know.
wind turbines, 10% of them.
Yeah, and
At
then maybe a little, yeah, if and sometimes they actually have to give energy to the wind turbines to get them going if there's not a lot of wind, because otherwise, yeah, it's kind of a tough
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, here
All
are
right.
the
So,
comments here. I don't know
what?
which ones you were looking at.
Yeah. So that one was from Vigilante Leva. That's what I was answering.
Oh yeah, right here.
Adam Woods is always good stuff. Thanks, Vitaly. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for always stopping by and being loyal and
Yeah, Matt
all
K.
time present. You're more present than me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very, very awesome. All right, let's see. What do we have here?
Glow Plug Joe didn't get any deals with parking. You got roads, bridges, and interchange upgrades,
Here
but
says
no
Timothy
parking.
Northern 6352. Another prediction for 10 to 12 months. Wow, that what a shocker. Unfortunately, what the only thing that we can do as of right now is predict because it's already even hard to predict something because the market is very, very unpredictable. And the phenomenon that is happening right now is something unprecedented, or at least not at this scale. Like we've never had such a long-lasting bad market, so it's really hard even to predict things. And the reason we tend to predict it for a longer time lapse is usually because if we say, "Oh, it's gonna get better in 3 months," and it might do, but it might not, then you're gonna come back to me and tell me, "Oh, Alex," or "Oh, Vitaly, you lied to us."
Yeah.
That's why we don't want to lie to you. That's why we're saying all the time that we're just trying to figure out what's going on and give you the best information possible without spreading misinformation. The one thing that we both hate, me and Vitaly, is spreading misinformation.
No, I definitely don't want to do that, and I'm very careful with my words. I've definitely made mistakes, but I'm careful with my words and analysis. I
No,
double and triple check things to make sure that we're giving you guys clean information. There was one comment I definitely wanted to look over. The thing was interesting. It says, "Just so you know, every time I hear the click and the dinging, I downvote." Why? Because I watch dozens of videos a day, and getting hit the click and ding dong is super repetitive and annoying. There's nothing I can do about it other than tell you about the annoyance and downvote. It isn't personal, and I don't want to downvote, but I have to protest against the channels that use these annoying effects. Duly noted, duly noted. But we do have to, for example, years and years and years of video editing, YouTube, and all these different social medias have actually proven that people want to hit the like button. They like if they like the video channel, but they're really interested in watching the videos. They're doing that. Some people will naturally do it. A lot of folks that jump in our videos do it right at the beginning. But what they found is that if you remind people and you gently ask them to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, just like I do, and you have those graphics that kind of break the trance, they will do that. They will do that, and that helps get these videos out there. And that's why we do that. We don't do this to upset you. Some people said, "Funny, I download every time I see a troll's comment." And it says, "You don't know what a troll comment is as compared to a complaint. I noticed that you can't even tell what spam is as per your comment. On the On the other thread, which is commercial spam, I actually help Vitaly there by reporting it as spam, which it is. And there are, I appreciate that. Yeah, so like one of the comments that I'm going to be getting rid of there is they get into those like spams of trying to sell stuff, like crypto, and they talk to themselves, and they have these bots that steal accounts, and they make it seem like there's this like activity going on, but you could tell right away that there's, yeah. Well, here's the wonderful one. This guy talks too much and goes around in circles. Just make your point and say what's good, what the good news is. Sheesh. Well, and I was going to tell you, so our intro is usually less than 1 minute. Then we get into the video. So I can't imagine just starting a video that we've been doing for 4 years straight every week. Yeah, every week, 4 per month or 5 per month sometimes. And I'm just going to just start the video and just start talking right away to cut that 1 minute. That's what bothers you, is that 1 minute. Then we have the video, and after editing, it ends up being like 4 to 5 minutes of actual news. And then the rest is loads. Like, that's why I try to go through things very quickly. You have no idea how many takes I do in order to make these videos actually work and keep them short. That's why we have the long form stuff for Sundays, and then those I want to keep them compact. So we really do cut it down. So I do apologize that it might seem like I'm going in circles or it's taking too long or whatnot. But the truth of the matter is, and maybe some of these have been deleted already. I haven't touched them yet, but there are some folks that don't really understand that at the end of the day, I need to make sure that this information comes out to you guys, that we are able to gather viewers in our lives, that we're able to get viewers on our channel. Yeah, it drives leads. It drives. It gets us customers. Go with the 1 minute guy. Oh yeah, just maybe I could do 1 minute videos. Just do shorts and like here's 15 truckers and all their loads, and we'll just rush through them. And then you just pause it, the moment that you want.
Yeah, and on the news you could say like,
everything's great. Thanks for stopping by.
The government is making some good changes. The market will go up. Now, let's go to the last week's load that we booked for our customers.
Yeah. He says, "What are you, the inflation king? I mean, I'm getting tired of $5 or more in fuel, high dollar groceries, and I guess $1 million load and $500 loaf of bread is okay for you." He says, "You must be in California because with my fuel cards, I'm paying $3.20 or less for diesel." Yeah, there's a chance of that. But yeah, you're flapping your gums and nothing good is coming out. Useless old information. So yeah, I apologize. I was 1 day behind the official, Department of Transportation in the Arizona, University of Arizona, that is primarily the focus there. So, folks, we're not here to annoy you.
Also here, if you see, sad that market forecasts are starting to sound like an unreachable carrot. It's always like just around the corner, next quarter in 6 months. That 6 months goes by, and then 9 months looks like it will improve, and so go on. Actually, for example, last year we didn't set a lot that is gonna get much better.
Because we didn't feel that they would.
Yeah, because it didn't look like it. And recently, when we said that it's gonna get better, we always said in between third and fourth quarter. And yes, it's gonna get delayed by a quarter, but it's not because of us. If you want me, I can tell you again. It's gonna be in October, for example. But if that information is not true, it made you happier maybe on the spot, but that's not my plan. Me and Vitaly, we're trying to give you as realistic information as possible. That's why even when you guys call me and you ask me about the numbers, I'm going to tell the real numbers. I'm not inflating anything. I don't like to do that. Thank God nobody makes me do that.
So that's absolutely. We've never once done that. We've literally never once done it. We always made sure. Now, and there have been mistakes. Some folks have caught on to some mistakes. We've done that. And those are usually like we forgot to add a cell or something like that, or numbers was off. And although I do understand like the weight of that, because that will change the average. And so that means that we're telling you the wrong information. But again, out of hundreds of videos, because it's not just those 198 videos in that folder. I mean, there's other ones as well. There's shorts. There's all sorts of stuff that we've done. And I bet you some of these videos I probably forgot to hit the, select the actual playlist. So there's probably more than that. We don't ever purposely do that. But if we do ever make a mistake, there is, that we try to correct that. And I will catch that in the comments from you guys. So yeah,
You're doing great job. Nothing out there compares to this program.
Hey, man, Falcon, thank you, man. Yeah.
That's big.
Really, really appreciate that, guys. So again, if you get a chance, guys, Alex, anything you want to add or anything like that? Anything you wanted to
That was the
cover?
last one, the last comment that really stood out to me that I wanted to answer because we actually bumped into this for a really long time and for a lot of times. Is this guy called Freight Xing says, I'm a flatbed owner operator from Toronto, Canada. I run US to Canada and Canada to USA. Can I get loads from you? The thing is, in order for us to dispatch you, you will need, if you do Canada, basically have a Canadian MC. In order for us to be able to help you get loads from US back to Canada, you need USD. So basically, you'll need a double, how's it called? I'm missing the word, Vitaly.
Like the right for employment? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm
Oh,
saying
are
like
you referring to a
if,
W-9 or W-2?
no, double MC basically. We have
Oh,
a
okay.
USMC and a Canadian
Oh,
MC.
yeah,
I
so like
forgot how
double authority. Yeah, so that's a little different.
double
So,
authority.
yeah,
There we go.
if you have double authority, then yeah, we can definitely do it for you. It's just we're not going to be of a great service for you if you're just strictly Canadian because the load boards cut us out. So you're better off finding a Canadian dispatch company that's actually located physically in Canada, not VPNs and all that stuff.
Correct. Yep. And there were a couple of good ones here.
Yeah, no, definitely appreciate you guys stopping by for that. Well, in any case, let's take a look at the comments. So thank you so much. And MS says, will be elimination of the Chevron rule by the Supreme Court will help stop FMCSA from the overregulation. Yeah, and I was looking at that. In fact, FreightWaves covered that a little bit by, the Chevron rule. So there is all sorts of possibilities of how that could turn around. But, considering we live in an upside down world these past few years, anything and everything is possible. So anyway, Alex, I think I think we did pretty good. I think it was a good. What is this? Yeah, we did pretty good. So in any case,
You'd love to play with those ones.
well, I didn't get the opportunity. So what we can do is we can say, which one is that one right there? I don't know. Oh, Alex, you.
Yeah.
Whenever I need to swear, I could just say. So there's a lot of. I'm just gonna play with these things, yeah, for the rest of the Sunday. For the rest of you guys, I hope you guys have had a wonderful holiday weekend. Hopefully, you got some R&R, like I said in the last week's video. If you haven't seen that, it's on our channel. It's last week's video. I think it's something that's useful. It covers the LMI for June of 2024. Very hopeful, very positive. And, hopefully that will continue because in August, we're going to get our July numbers and we'll be able to know better. But in the meantime, definitely, Alex, thank you for stopping by. You're definitely very, very helpful. All the awesome comments and all the awesome people that stopped by. And thank you, MS. Lots of comments and discussion with Brandon Schneider. I haven't been able to see the people's live comments in the replays. That used to be an option. Now it's gone. Of course, D64 Falcon always stopping by. Clyde Acorn, Knight Rider, Nathan Eberly and Adam Woods are just a staple of the channel. Thank you guys for so much. I do like to see your lives. Really appreciate it, MS. We love seeing your names. Believe it or not, like with all the thousands of people, there's just a handful of people that are constantly here in the comments. There's some folks out there that have been leaving comments on our videos and just got me thinking a lot of good information. And some of their comments I actually would remember years later and be like thinking, I used to think that guy was crazy, but he was onto something. And I just remember that, we don't know everything. We should never be know-it-alls. And sometimes people in the comments will prove you wrong, even if it takes a year or two down the road. I did prepare today pretty well. So what I'm going to do, I got a little outro song for you guys and hopefully you guys enjoy it. He does love looks like thanks a bunch, guys. And Braden says I'll do my best to make it next time. Thank you, Brandon. I keep saying Braden half the time, but I know it's Brandon. So appreciate you guys. Here's the outro song. I think you guys will enjoy. Thanks for stopping by, Alex. Thanks for your help.
Don't forget to hit that like button.
That's right.
We'll do this more often, and it will help us a lot.
Yep, certainly. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Got the good stuff today. Now we just got to find the right buttons.
Hell yeah.